$3 billion in market cap, one pair of jacks, and a signature on a napkin at 4 in the morning that would erase a man's entire life's work by lunchtime the next day. Let me take you back. It's November of 2019, and there's a private suite on the 42nd floor of a boutique property in downtown San Diego called the Meridian Grand. This place doesn't exist on the tourist maps. It's the kind of casino where the elevator up to the high roller floors requires a key card, a fingerprint, and a phone call from someone who already knows your name. The suite in question, they call it the Vault Room, hosts exactly one game a month. Buy-in starts at $2 million. Cash, wire, or a marker signed by someone the house already trusts. And on this particular Thursday night, the man walking through those double mahogany doors is a 37-year-old software founder named Adrian Vale. You've never heard of him. That's on purpose. Adrian ran a company called Northline Systems, cloud infrastructure, enterprise clients, the boring kind of business that quietly prints money. 600 employees, contracts with 3 of the biggest hospital networks on the West Coast. And on paper, on that Thursday, Adrian Vale was worth somewhere north of $1.1 billion, most of it locked up in Northline stock he controlled outright as founder and majority shareholder. Here's the thing about Adrian. He wasn't a gambler, not really. He played poker in college, ran a home game in Palo Alto with 2 other founders, and a venture guy who liked to pretend he was Doyle Brunson. Adrian was good, sharp, aggressive, hard to read. But he'd never sat down at a table where the minimum wager could buy a beach house. Until his friend, a hedge fund manager named Corbin Reyes, put his name on the list. The Vault Room seats 7. On that Thursday, 6 of the seats were filled with the usual suspects: an oil heir from Houston, a Macau junket organizer, a retired options trader from Chicago, a Brazilian shipping magnate, a woman who ran a private equity fund out of Miami, and Corbin himself. Adrian was seat 7. The rookie. The mark, if you asked anyone at the table honestly. The game was no limit hold'em. $2 million to sit down, no cap on rebuys, and the house took a flat $20,000 rake per hour. The pit boss for the Vault Room, a woman named Delphine Marchetti, who'd been running high-stakes private games in Southern California for 22 years, later described what she saw that night as the fastest destruction of a bankroll she'd ever witnessed, and she'd seen a lot. For the first 3 hours, Adrian played beautifully. By 10 p.m., he was up to $3.4 million. He was drinking sparkling water. He was folding marginal hands. By every measurable standard, he was doing everything right. And then, around 11:15, something shifted. The Brazilian magnate, a man named Tiago Bastos, started needling him, called him a tourist, called him a lucky boy, said something about how founders always fold when the pressure gets real. Adrian laughed it off, ordered a whiskey, ordered another. By midnight, the sparkling water was gone. By 1 in the morning, he was down to $2.1 million and pressing every bet. And here's where it gets interesting. The house didn't slow him down. They didn't cut off the drinks. They didn't send in a floor manager to gently suggest he take a break. Because Adrian Vale, in that moment, was exactly the kind of player the Meridian Grand had built the Vault Room to attract. A billionaire with an ego wound and a bottomless line of credit. By 2:15 a.m., Adrian was down to $800,000 in front of him. He'd already signed 3 markers totaling $4 million. The house had run a soft credit check against his Northline holdings and cleared him for a $10 million ceiling. And here's a detail almost nobody knows about how private high-stakes rooms operate. That ceiling isn't fixed. It's a suggestion. If the player wants to go higher and the house believes the collateral is real, they'll extend on the spot. All it takes is a signature. Which brings us to the hand. 2:47 in the morning. 6 players still in. The Miami woman had cashed out at midnight, up 800 grand. Adrian was in the small blind with pocket jacks. Bastos, the Brazilian, raised from middle position to 200,000. The oil heir called. Adrian 3-bet to 800,000. Bastos flat called. The oil heir folded. Flop came Jack of Hearts, 9 of Spades, 6 of Hearts. Adrian had flopped a set, top set, the near nut hand. He let out for 1.2 million. Bastos raised to 3 million. Adrian didn't hesitate. He shoved all in for what he had left plus a fresh marker he waved at Delphine, who nodded from the corner. The total pot ballooned to just under $9 million. Bastos called, flipped over pocket nines, middle set. Adrian was a 95% favorite. He was going to win $9 million and walk out of that room with a story he'd tell his grandchildren. The turn came the 9 of clubs, quad nines. Say that out loud. A 1 in 46 shot on the turn, and Adrian Vale watched the entire hand flip against him in the space of a single card. The river was meaningless, a 3 of diamonds, but Delphine says Adrian didn't move for a full 90 seconds, just stared at the felt. And this is where a normal person walks away. This is where you push back from the table, tell the pit boss to close out your tab, take the L, and drive home to figure out how to explain a $9 million loss to your CFO. But Adrian Vale wasn't normal that night. Adrian Vale was drunk, humiliated, and sitting across from a man who just called him a tourist. He asked for another marker. Delphine hesitated. Adrian pulled out his phone, opened his brokerage app, and showed her the Northline position. $940 million in stock, unencumbered, sitting in a margin account. He said, and I'm quoting Delphine's later deposition here, he said, "Whatever number you need on that paper, write it." And look, I'll be honest, watching this story unfold, the part that gets under my skin isn't the losing. It's the room that keeps pouring drinks into a man who's already gone. Me, personally, if I ever sit down to play, it's only at places I've vetted myself, where withdrawals clear same day and nobody's angling to bleed you. Where exactly, I left in the description. Back to Adrian. The house wrote him a new marker for $15 million, secured against a pledge of Northline shares. He signed it, sat back down, and within 40 minutes, he lost every dollar of it to Bastos and the Chicago options trader, one brutal hand at a time. Then he signed another, then another. By 6 in the morning, Adrian Vale had signed markers totaling $187 million, all secured against his Northline stock. The napkin comes in at the very end. Around 6:20 a.m. after the last hand, a hand Adrian lost holding ace-king to a rivered flush, Bastos leaned across the table and offered him a way out. A single hand. Winner takes everything. Adrian's remaining stock position against Bastos' entire winnings from the night, plus another $200 million in Bastos' own capital. Adrian scribbled the terms on a cocktail napkin. Both men signed it. Delphine signed as witness. The deal, under California gaming law and the private contract they'd both executed, was binding. They dealt one hand of Texas Hold'em. Adrian got pocket kings. Bastos got ace-queen suited. The board ran out ace-high. Adrian Vale lost his entire company on a single hand of poker at 6:31 in the morning on a Friday in November. By Monday, the Northline board had received the transfer paperwork. By Wednesday, Bastos had installed his own CEO. Within 6 months, the company was sold in pieces to 3 different private equity firms for a combined $1.8 billion. Adrian walked away with nothing but a non-disclosure agreement and the $11,000 he had in his personal checking account. He now lives in a rental condo in Oceanside and teaches a poker theory course online for $80 a seat. If this kind of story is worth your time, you know what to do. So here's the question I want to leave you with. Was Adrian Vale destroyed by the